Hello, everyone. So it's me again. This time I am coming with my AFRINIC hat to talk about internet number resources in our region. So for those who are not familiar with regional internet registry, so regional internet registries are actually organizations in the world that are in charge of mainly allocation of internet number resources, so ASN, IPv4, IPv6. We are also accompanying our communities into policy development for those resources, running critical services like reverse DNS, WIS, RDAP, etc. And also we do capacity building, engagement, etc. Okay, so quickly, we also have 5 areas in the world. So we have ARIN for North America, part of the Caribbean island. You have LACNIC for Latin and Central America and the rest of the Caribbean island. You have RIPE-NCC for Europe, Middle East and part of Asia, including Russia. You have AFRINIC for the rest of Asia and Australia, New Zealand, and South Pacific Ocean. And the last one is AFRINIC for Africa and Indian Ocean. So when it comes to AFRINIC, who are we? We are the 5th area, so incorporated in 2004, starting to our operation in 2005. We have members, organization. So we currently have more than 2,400 organizations that are member. And for now, we have 43 staff. We are headquartered in Mauritius, a beautiful island in the Indian Ocean, and you are always invited to come and visit. I always like to show this, which is, oh, sorry, there is a small mistake. So it's actually the statistic of the remaining IPv4 as of Q1 2025. Sorry, it's not 2024, it's 2025. So I will correct it before uploading on the website. So as you can see, only AFRINIC and AFRINIC still have IPv4 available for allocation. ARIN, LACNIC, RIPE-NCC no longer allocate IPv4. And when it comes to that 0.054, currently we are at 5th. So we have, in terms of IPv4 for AFRINIC region, as of today, like when I'm speaking, like right now, we only have 875,680 IPv4 remaining. So it's minus 1.8% compared to last year at the same time. And since it's a lightning talk, I will go fast. Let's see some numbers for Africa in 2025. So when it comes to the number of members, we have an increase of 4.6%. So despite everything that's happening at AFRINIC, we were able to add 4.6% more members since last year. Southern Africa is still our biggest region, with 42% of our members coming from there. Then West Africa. And if you want the countries in Southern Africa, it's mainly South Africa. In Western Africa, it's, which is the biggest country in Western Africa? Nigeria, thank you. So Central Africa, Eastern, Indian Ocean, Northern, you can see. Strangely, Northern, there is, in terms of members, they are small, but they have a lot of resources. So now, when it comes to IPv6 in our region, unfortunately, we only have 0.03% increase since last year. So we have, again, more work to do. And most of the region have been very steady, so nothing very significant there. When it comes to IPv4, we have an increase of 0.13%. So the reason for that small increase is because we have some minus in Indian Ocean and Northern Africa. Reason can be various. It can be sometime reclaim. Sometime it can also be merger, intra-area transfer. So inside of Africa, transfer from one region to the other. But we have some minus from those two sub-regions. When it comes to ASN, 0.46% increase. No big changes on this side. Internet routing registry, because we want a more stable internet, we have an increase of 0.035%. We have a huge bump from West Africa, but we also have a reduction in Indian Ocean. Reason why we don't have a huge bump when it comes to the internet routing registry. So also something that we want to always remind is the fact that we support internet exchange point. So any internet exchange point that is open, neutral, and community will receive resources as per AFRINIC CPM. Don't worry about whatever you will see from those statistics, because we have some reserved resources when it comes to the critical infrastructure. And what you get as an IXP, it will be 2 ASN plus 2 set of IPv4 and IPv6. So one for your peering VLAN, and one for your peering LAN and one for your management. So the peering is actually invisible to outside your IXP. So that's the one that all the peers will use to connect. And the management is where the services are. But normally the ASN for the management is for the root server. Okay, and also what we do at AFRINIC, we have some programs that we do, critical infrastructure support, technical community development, AnyCast training, and DO help desk for those who want to deploy RPKI or IPv6. And we also have our DNS support program. I won't talk more about that because I already mentioned it during the peering personnel. And I was going to say thank you, but just one last information. We have elections that are coming very soon. And as you can see, we have extended the time for closing of designation of voters, 26th of August, candidate nomination as well, 28th of August. The e-voting is planned to take place in September, so mid-September, 8 to 12. So hopefully everything will go well this time. And if you want more information, you have election.afrinic.net, where you can see all the latest information regarding election at AFRINIC. On this note, thank you.
Hello. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation, but from your presentation, you didn't mention anything about any new allocation coming to West Africa. I want you to touch more on that.
Yes, actually, when it comes to West Africa, we have a statistics website, so stats.afrinic.net. If you want more information, you can see them there. Because it's a lightning talk, I was trying to be as fast as possible, so I just gave the big picture, but you have our website, stats.afrinic.net, and you have all the statistics with details there. Thank you.
Can we just have the one slide back, please? Back. Yes, on this one. I did register for voters. I have a ticket pending for more than 10 days and still I haven't been confirmed. When is the deadline for voter confirmation and when I will be 100% sure that I can vote?
Oh, okay, for voter registration, the new deadline is 26th of August. So by next week.
Registering on the 26th will get confirmation on the 26th, or does it mean it will get confirmation on the 5th?
We are, normally it will be on the 26th or latest the 27th.
Okay.
So we will give time for people to designate their voter up to 26 by, let's say midnight, Mauritius, midnight, 1 minute, Mauritius time. So meaning that you can submit, and after that we will provide. We are really sorry for the time that it takes. It's unfortunate, but we are doing our best.
Hello, this is Frank. It's not a question, I'm sorry, but a comment. Can you please carry 2 messages to Mauritius? First, to all the staff, thank you for the service, that they are doing the job very well and going through the elections. And second, despite this announcement that AFRINIC continues with its mandate, it seems there are no new invoices being issued, and maybe one of our official receivers can rectify this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The message is well noted. And on behalf of AFRINIC staff, thank you very much. It's a hard time for us, but we are here to serve all our community. Thank you.
Come on, guys. We can appreciate Cedrick, who represents AfRINIC, better than that. Thank you, Cedrick. Thank you for the work you guys do at AfRINIC.
Despite this announcement that AFRINIC continues with its mandate, it seems there are no new invoices being issued, and maybe one of our official receivers can rectify this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The message is well noted. And on behalf of AFRINIC staff, thank you very much. It's a hard time for us, but we are here to serve all our community. Thank you.
Come on, guys. We can appreciate Cedrick, who represents AfRINIC, better than that. Thank you, Cedrick. Thank you for the work you guys do at AfRINIC. Up next, we'll have Obinna. Obinna, please do come. He'll be presenting an update on PeeringDB.
Okay, so we're here to talk about PeeringDB. Most of us already knows about PeeringDB. Okay, so basically, PeeringDB is a platform that was established to be what you could call the central point of truth for information about connectivity, carriers, facilities, which essentially are data centers across the world. It's a non-profit entity registered in the United States and run by volunteers who run the admin and all the other operations and all the other elements of the platform. For some networks require you to be on PeeringDB before you can peer with them. You know, if you had listened to a couple of people that did their peering personnel, you would have noticed that they pointed you to PeeringDB as a source of peering information for you to be able to peer with them. So that has become how important PeeringDB is in the life of the Interconnect community. So, like I mentioned, it's a non-profit entity registered in the United States, and anybody can actually register and join PeeringDB. There are various levels of people or users you see on PeeringDB. One are individual users, which you can, of course, just go to peeringdb.com/register to register as an individual. Once you have done that, then you can actually register your organization and then tie your individual registration to an organization that is yours, that you can actually, so you can manage your network, you can manage your facility, you can manage your AF-CIX or your carrier, as the case may be. Okay, I mentioned that PeeringDB was registered in the United States and is run by a group of volunteers, people like myself and yourself. It's not owned by any particular person because it's, again, a non-profit entity. So all of us and all of them and every single member of the team come together to make PeeringDB a functional place. these are the current board of directors of PeeringDB. I think the last election was a year ago, 2 years ago. Was it this year? Okay. The last election was early this year, according to my board of director. And as you can see, our very own Isabel, who has been entertaining us all the past 3 days, is also on the board of PeeringDB, and all the other wonderful individuals who sit on the board of PeeringDB to make sure that the platform works. PeeringDB is divided into 4 key elements. One is the admin team. Another one is the operations committee, the outreach, and the product committee. And all of them, like I said, are individual people who actually sit on the platform to do various activities. The admin team basically manage the day-to-day administration of the platform. Things like managing users and all of that stuff. Then we have operations teams that take care of, the issues that we have every now and then as a user. You can't log in, I can log in, I lost my password, all of that stuff. They do that. We have the outreach committee, who basically do things like what I'm doing right now. They basically go to events, they come to various organizations and various places to talk about PeeringDB. So they're basically what in your organization you would call marketers. And then you have the product committee, who basically drive the roadmap for PeeringDB, look at the application, what next do we need to do? Do we need to do an upgrade? Do we need to change the interface and all of that stuff? And again, these are all the people. Admin, outreach committee. You can see that guy up there smiling, yours faithfully. And product committee. Me, you are invited to join PeeringDB. One of the biggest problems we have are people who reach out to say, look, I can't get this done. I sent a ticket, I raised the ticket, I can't log into my account. But majority of the time, people forget that they are actually volunteers who have 9 to 5 jobs outside of PeeringDB who actually get this done. So we need individuals who can devote an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of their time in a day to actually come, join the team, volunteer, so that we can start to actually drop the number of pending tickets we have on our system so that everyone can have an optimal experience. If you're a marketing person, you're a loud person, you speak like me, you're happy to engage people and all of that stuff, the outreach committee is a perfect place for you to be. You're a software developer, you can code, you can script, UI, UX, UI, all of that stuff. You can also join the product committee and so on and so forth. And everyone is welcomed across the globe. There is no racial bias or ethnicity bias and all of that. Everybody is welcomed as long as you are part of the internet community and you have access to internet. This is our current statistics as when now, I believe this was as that earlier in the year, 46,000 individual users and counting, networks, facilities, IXPs, and they're still growing. So with our new IXs that just went live 3 days ago in Niger, I expect to see you guys on PeeringDB in the coming days. Else, I'll call for you. All right. This was a feature that was launched on PeeringDB. It's been about 2 years now, or 1 year or thereabout. So this allows you to actually use Google Earth. So you can download the KMZ directly from PeeringDB, upload it into Google Earth, and then you can search for facilities as uploaded into Google Earth because there's actually the KMZ already pre-built inside PeeringDB. Many people don't know that this feature exists. So we see a situation where people reach out to PeeringDB and say, hey, look, how do I get a list of all the data centers in PeeringDB and all of that stuff? This is the easiest way to do it by yourself without necessarily having to raise a ticket for this particular thing. You can see an example of what you get. So if you load this to Google Earth, you can basically just do a search, narrow it down by country, narrow it down by the name of the facility. You can narrow it down by a geographical location. You can just basically play around just like what you get with Google Earth. Okay. Individuals are encouraged to submit the expected updates for PeeringDB. If there is something you see that could actually make PeeringDB a better platform, you're encouraged to send that forward. It will be evaluated, And if it fits into the framework and roadmap of PeeringDB, that will be developed. And after that, it will be put into beta mode, where you can actually log into that URL, play with the beta mode, and tell us your experience. Share with us what you think of how to make those beta updates better, in quotes. Once that passes, we now transition that into your core operations of PeeringDB. So you can actually enjoy features that are yet to be published on that particular URL. And then the release process, like I mentioned earlier, we get that, we evaluate it, we do all the necessary thing that needs to be done. Once it passes beta, we make the announcement, and then it becomes public. We also attend conferences. Of course, I'm here talking to you, so we attend conferences. So we go to GPF, EPF, AfPIF, various country NOGs, and as many as possible. The biggest advantage of having you on board is that if we have people from various nationalities volunteering on PeeringDB, it makes it easier to actually engage with as much people as possible. So you can actually take the message of PeeringDB to your own country NOG or to your own country peering forum and actually get this information to as much people as possible. This year, PeeringDB was one of this very presentation you are seeing was one of the presentations that was done at Central African Peering Forum, and it was fantastic because we saw a huge number of individuals and organizations who never knew that something like this actually existed, and we were able to actually solve some of the key problems they needed with statistics. Okay, so oftentimes people say, look, we just go to your website and we see what's on the website. Where do we get more information? This is a repository of as many informations as available within PeeringDB. You can go from all the way from joining our mailing list so that you can get our regular updates. It's open as long as you a network provider that is registered on PeeringDB or a facility provider that is registered on PeeringDB. You can actually get on the mailing list. Just register and you can request to get on the mailing list, and then you can get periodic updates of things that we do in PeeringDB, including access to voting when there is voting for board members, and you can also have as well vie for election of the board, participate in various committees, and just general information that you need from PeeringDB, and as many other informations as you need, social media platforms, and all of that stuff. Finally, PeeringDB, like every other non-governmental organizations or NGOs and all of that, are run by sponsors. The funding is usually from sponsors. So PeeringDB would always come to you and various organizations to ask for funds so that we can keep this wonderful platform that has added so much value to individuals and organizations. So we appeal to you, if you consider it worth doing, which we plead that you do, kindly consider becoming a sponsor of PeeringDB. We have various categories of sponsorship. You can see from the diamond sponsorship all the way down to silver sponsorship and the applicable costs that are attached to them. At the moment, these are all our sponsors, and we're extremely grateful to them. I would love you to put your hands together for all our sponsors that have kept PeeringDB going. And that should be all. And the clicker stopped working. Questions, please. Any question? None.
Hi, Obinna.
Hi.
I'm asking a question not as PeeringDB board member, but as a network. We networks rely so much on PeeringDB to be able to find fellow peers or other networks that we'd like to peer with, or information on where our peers are so that we can send them requests. But I have noticed that in Africa, there are very few networks that are on PeeringDB. And so we come to these events and we ask around for contacts, which we shouldn't be doing. okay, it's a good way of networking as well, but we rely on these events to request for contacts for these networks. But then there's some people who can't come here to ask around for these contacts. It would be nice to know what your plan is to get as many networks to use PeeringDB.
Thank you. First of all, you are absolutely correct. Africa is the least represented continent on PeeringDB. We used to have that statistics, but at some point it started getting depressing. I just took it out of the slides. Would rather fix it than complain about it, which is why we went to West African Peering Forum this year. We talked about PeeringDB. We also went to Central African Peering Forum. We also talked about PeeringDB, and we're beginning to see that interest. Now we're talking about it here again. One of the things we are thinking about, we're still thinking about it in the coming year, or the coming year actually, is to find a way of creating what you would call materials that are community-based. So you come to Nigeria, we can actually build materials that are relatable by people in that country, and then understand, for example, IXPN is the largest IXP here, and the community is built around it. How can we work with IXPN to have PeeringDB as part of their ongoing training activities that they do? We do the same things as many countries as possible, get these materials closest to the people. And one of the things I do, because people like money. Money is one of the easiest ways to get people to listen. I went to an organization and I told them, look, get the salespeople together. Do you know that if you are trying to get an organization to buy something from you, you can actually use PeeringDB to understand how they're doing from a connectivity perspective? You can literally go on PeeringDB and see where the POPs are, where the other POP is, and all of that stuff. And when you walk into them, you can already begin to condition your mind as the kind of conversation you want to have with them. The next day, they called me that I should come and train the entire organization on PeeringDB. So, but again, but the point is that we, from a PeeringDB perspective, outreach committee are going to various countries, various individuals, various organizations, and crafting materials to make sure that this message gets to the people. It is now left for us as Africans to recognize this importance of this and then embrace it.
Thank you. I have just a question. For small ISPs like Ninetech in Niger, what is the minimum requirement for PeeringDB?
Okay. To be on PeeringDB, first of all, you have to create an account on PeeringDB. There is no minimum requirement for that as an individual, right? Have your email address and create a password, put your details and all of that. Click submit. It will be evaluated at the back end and approval will be done. For an organization to be on PeeringDB, you need an ASN number, an AS number, right? So once you get your AS number, which is of course generally the minimum you even need to peer in the first place. So once you get your ASN, you can register on PeeringDB.
Have a ASN number, but is there a requirement to have a public ASN number for communities or something like that?
That is actually Cedrick's question from an AFRINIC perspective, but I want to believe that AFRINIC is still issuing AS numbers. Yes, so you can apply to AFRINIC for an AS number.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? Great. So I would have to give all of you an exam after this because I believe you heard me and you learned it. Thank you.
Thank you, Obinna. We'll move on to West Africa, Central Africa Research and Education Network. Edward Banjo. Right. West and Central Africa Research and Education Network update by Edward Banjo. Okay, I don't think Edward is around. Patrick Okui. We'll move on to Patrick, and Patrick will be giving us an update on the Routeviews update.
My name is Patrick Okui. I will be giving the Routeviews update. I work with the Network Startup Resource Center, NSRC, and I also work with Work Online, but today I'm wearing my NSRC hat. I guess I'll be ready to, oh, I see a timer and I see slide. So Routeviews is a project. It's a research project. It's a community-run project. It's been around for 28 years now. It used to be an individual project run under the University of Oregon. And these days it is run as part of the NSRC. NSRC took it on as a project to kind of staff it and also find resources for it. We've been up for 27 years, as I said, and the compressed data that we have is about 50 terabytes or so. This is the core team. I would call it the full-time team for Routeviews. And these are the people who do Routeviews all the time. People like me are troublemakers. We only come in to cause problems, right? Importantly, Nina is our peering coordinator. So when I talk about our peering policy, we do have someone whose job it is to have the final say on anything peering related. I've already said this a little bit. So it's a BGP collector, which means it's a BGP speaker that accepts your routing tables and does not announce anything to you. And then we collect whatever you send us. Your current view of the tables, plus things like updates, withdrawals, RPKI status, etc. And then we archive this for other people to evaluate wherever they are. And this allows lots of people to do real-time analysis and also historical analysis. So some of the tools that you are used to using already use Routeviews data. So some tools from Kaida, Hurricane Electric BGP tools, and also some commercial tools like the Kentic tools are commercial. We don't have any restrictions on who can use our data. And if you are using this data in an interesting way, we would like to know about it so that we can quote it. Some researchers use our data. We have a DOI somewhere on the page that you can use if you're writing a paper or writing some research and you're using Routeviews data. But the other group of people who use Routeviews or Routeviews are people in NOCs, people who need access to a looking glass. And this is just one example of a network which was trying to announce a slightly longer prefix for traffic engineering. And it was showing up on some of the upstreams and not any of the others. And in Routeviews, they were able to see that it was coming out with an RPK invalid. And this is somehow important because the looking glasses of your service provider or your exchange point will sometimes only show you what has been accepted, but it might not show you what has been rejected. And in this case, it's kind of one of those tricky cases because on your own router, some things won't show up as if they're wrong, right? Your router will say as if, no, RPK is okay. You only find out when you announce it outside your network. So in this case, when you looked at the /19, the covering prefix, then you could see that, oh, all other transit providers had it because it was valid. So certain things can be made easier for your NOC. If you peer with routing, the more people who peer with Routeviews, the easier it is to catch issues like this, right? And there are other use cases which, since this is a lightning talk, we do not have the time to get into, but you can talk to me about that in case you're interested. There is a video that someone made that just went through the impact of Routeviews that when you get the slides, you'll be able to watch it. And then for those of you who are not familiar with the project. So now to the updates. We have about 50 collectors, and we've moved all of them to FRR as the software. And then we have one legacy one running Cisco. It was the very, very first one, and we still keep it. We have emotional attachment to that router. And these are the latest locations, Philippines, and Korea and Italy. I know that we are working on getting a collector in this country in the next couple of months as well. We have lots of requests to fill certain locations, but as a community-run project, we sometimes have issues getting the resources to actually put the collector there and then, bring the data back. One of the new projects that we are working on is an API. And this is because we noticed that much as I say, there are two types of users, the ones who look at our data, the historical data, and the ones who look at the real-time data, usually typing, but that's not fully true. Some people who are using scripts want to look at real-time data. So they were hammering the Routeviews collectors with Telnet. And when they do that, it makes the collector, the CPU goes up, so it makes it unavailable for a certain amount of time. So we've responded to that and we've created an API. It's in beta stage. Please go to that website, look at how to use it. Even if you're not a programmer, you can use tools like wget or CURL, or even just put it inside your browser and see what you get out and give us feedback, right? Especially for the programmers, but also for the non-programmers, play with it and give us feedback. So in the beta stage, it connects to only 10 collectors so far. It doesn't connect to all the collectors, but we are trying to get feedback on how this works. The second main thing is we now have a web-based looking glass. And as we say, Telnet is a big drain on our resources. So we are trying to pull that out. And we realized that people do need the real-time access. So we created a web-based looking glass. It's already passed internal testing. It's live now. So if you go to lg.routeviews.org, and then you can specify which collector, and then you can run all kinds of queries that you might be interested in. Maybe one thing that is not immediately obvious is when you log into the collector, you can see which peers, when you Telnet, you can see which peers are connected to it. And we made sure that when you select BGP, whether IPv4 or IPv6, you can also still see which peers are connected it by just typing summary instead of an IP address inside there. And then it will list the peers which are there. So if there is any functionality that you currently get from Telnet into the collectors that you cannot get from this interface, we would like to know about it. Yeah. We also have a live feed using the BGP monitoring protocol. And as of this month, we are making it a bit more responsive. So we've changed the back end. The load balancer used to be Keep Alive D. We've changed it. We're also upgrading the back end. We are getting rid of physical metal servers because maintaining them long term is very, very difficult. After a certain amount of time, you have to ship in a new piece of gear, and then what do you do with the old one? And then, how do you recycle it? So we are trying to move on to VMs. And in many cases, we are able to get donations of VMs from the IXPs or one of the peers at the IXPs. So that's helping us a lot. And then we are able to work together to make this a bit more efficient because we don't want to have to keep shipping new boxes. And then what do you do with the old one? We have also, since we're using FRR, we submit code changes to FRR to make it work a bit more performant in our environment. So we have a team of people who just look at FRR bugs and submit those upstream. We are looking to have collectors, especially in this region, like AFRINIC region, the Africa region where we have AfPIF, and as well as the Latin America region, because we have very few collectors in this region. I'll show you a map later. And we also need improved community support. As more people use these tools, we'd like to hear from you in terms of what you'd like to see, and in terms of if you also want to support the project financially, we are very happy about that. I've already mentioned this, that if you already use Routeviews for your internal data, let us know about it and we can list you on your pages. But remember, all we do is we report the news, we don't make it. So we cannot fix routing problems on the internet. All we can do is say what we found, right? We are not the global internet police. So peering with Routeviews, we have a peering policy that used to be fully open and it's now slightly selective. And the first thing is we don't run multiple protocols on the same peering session. So we peer with you over IPv4 for IPv4 prefixes. We peer with you over IPv6 for v6 prefixes, right? It makes the analysis much, much simpler. We want to get your entire BGP table, and we are collectors, so we do not send you prefixes at all, right? The general requirements as they are listed are basically what we use to choose when we want to do bilateral peering. And most operators, especially here, will meet those general requirements. And the whole idea was we had to make a balance, because remember, right now we have 50 terabytes of compressed data and it's just growing. And it makes it hard to store that data, but also for people who are analyzing it. So we had to make certain trade-offs in terms of who do we pair with, where do we go in terms of exchange points. So most of these things are usually like, for example, exchanges which have so most of these on this slide, most of these requirements, like we are trying not to have hobbyist network. These are people who are just doing internet experiments. There is no real network behind it. And then we said, okay, maybe we shall not pair with them because those networks tend to be up and down. And FRR, if you're on and off, is a big problem, right? It takes a lot of resources when you create a session, drop a session, such thing, yeah? So don't be worried by the so-called selective peering policy. Just get in touch in case you want to pair with Routeviews. You can pair with us directly at an exchange point, or if you're not present at any of the exchange points that we have a multi-hop sessions to Oregon, right? Some servers in Oregon, and you can pair over those. But of course, we prefer the local peering. Hosting Routeviews, it's interested in new locations. You can be a Routeviews collector by either being the IXP or appear at the IXP, in which case you sponsor the IXP port and roughly 10 megabits per second worth of transit. And that includes both the BGP updates plus the queries which are coming to the box, right? We have the specifications. We list both the VM and the physical, because in some places there is no way to have VMs and you have to get a physical box, but we are trying to move towards VM. Then we have a base Ubuntu install, and then we install FRR. Of course, we are very grateful to all our collector hosts, and we always mention them in all our materials, and they are on our sponsor part of the website. Yeah, so The thing is, I would like to come back to this slide. In Africa, we have only 4 locations. Okay, soon to be 5, but that is really, really, really small, considering the fact that this map is misleading and Africa is a lot bigger than everything else up there. So would like people in this region to get in touch with us, especially if you're willing to host the collector, and then we can see what we can get done. So that's it from me. Are there any questions, comments, updates? You're also allowed to stand up and then say that I'm telling lies. Yes, Mike. Questions?
All right, the mic has been open for Mike. Thank you, Patrick. A few slides back, one of the things you pointed out, or one of the things on the slide, is that preferred IXPs or preferred peers would be at least 100 prefixes being announced. Back again, there. Where there are IXPs with large numbers of peers, more than 100, does that mean guys with less than 100 peers are not welcome? 32, 50, 10?
So this set of recommendations was built for us to decide, especially in North America and Europe, where we have so many points of presence. Where do we go to a new place in those markets? Because unlike here in Europe, you'll find an exchange point across every corner. They're like Starbucks, right? Or whatever your coffee place is. And previously we would rush to each exchange point. So this is kind of a guideline, especially for those markets, into which kind of place will we choose to go to. But we recognize that, for example, in Africa, you go to a country and there are less than 100 ASNs in the entire country. Forget at the exchange point. So again, we are a lot more flexible, but that's why I started by saying that many of these are guidelines for us in terms of where we'll choose to go to in those very developed markets. Yes, Cedrick.
Yes, thank you, Patrick. Actually, just a follow-up question regarding this same and the comment that you made. I think that when we look at the reality of Africa, having more than 100 ASN in most of the IXP is actually difficult. So I will say that it will be now up to Routeviews and NSRC to say if they are more interested into diversity when it comes to location, or they want to stick to that more than 100 ASN.
No, this is not, like I said, don't get scared by this number, right? This is more like a guideline. And like I said, we have a peering coordinator who makes a final decision. And very important to us is going to places that show us new insight, right? And for example, Africa is not represented. So someone who's doing research does not know the things we have to go through as network operators. You know, that kind of prepending that we have to go through. Sometimes we have to split our address space down to the /24. These are not problems that you see outside the continent. So we are interested in coming to these places. So don't look at the bullet points, just tell us where you are, what your exchange looks like, and we shall get the conversation started.
So in short, for instance, all the AF-CIX members are encouraged to reach out to you, and irrespective of their size.
Yes.
Because one of the things that we are trying to do, I mean, me as my day-to-day job with AFRINIC is help IXPs to be more attractive. And the more services that they have and the more attractive they are. So is it okay if we ask them to reach out to you, irrespective of their size then?
Correct. Okay. They should reach out. I will update the slides with an email address and as well as the URL so that they can.
Well, for me, it's fine. I know how to contact you. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Cedrick. If that is it, then thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Patrick. And just as a reminder, all these presentations will be uploaded on the AfPIF website, so you can be able to get all this presentation, get the contact details, all the people who presented on the AfPIF website. Last but not least, for lightning talks, I'll invite Cedrick back to give us an update on the regional peering forum. Cedrick.
I was trying to get Obinna on stage so he can dance in the meantime that the presentation comes up, but he's refusing. No, please, not this kind of music. We are not going to dance together on this. We don't have that type of relationship. Okay. Thank you very much to the tech team. And sorry, actually, it's my bad because I'm the one who sent it quite late. I'm not a perfectionist, don't worry. So this is regional peering forum update. So for those who are not aware, we actually have some regional peering peering forum update, peering forums, sorry, happening in for now just two. The first one is the West Africa Peering Forum, and this year it was 16 and 17, no, sorry, 17 and 18 of June, 2025. Next. So and this year the forum was in Dakar, Senegal. If you can. Okay. And in the meantime that we get the next slide. Okay. Thank you. And we also have a PC, as usual, for all the peering forum. And this year, we have elected 3 co-chairs for the PC of the West Africa Peering Forum. So we have a lady, Esther King from the Gambia. We have Brice Abba from Cote d'Ivoire. And that guy at the end there, my evil twin brother, Obinna, from Nigeria. Sometime I forgot that he's still from Nigeria. And in terms of registration and location, so this is a bit of the history. We started in 2021 online, 2022 online, 2023 online. The first in-person was in 2024 in Abidjan, and the second in-person was actually in Dakar, Senegal. So this is really an improvement because we have been able to move from virtual to in-person. And also in terms of attendance, for 2025, there was 278 registration online from 30 countries. we had in person 116 attendees, and there was actually 71, unique ASN that registered for the conference. Next. And also you are invited next year for the WAPF 2026 in Cotonou, Benin. So that will be, the date will be announced, but it will be around the month of June of 2026 in Cotonou, Benin. Next. The next forum that I want to talk about is the Central Africa Peering Forum, CAPF, but we will call it FPAC, so FPAC, simply because CAPF may bring confusion with Central Asia Peering Forum, so we'll use the French name, which is FPAC. So the FPAC was this year, 17 to 18 of July, 2025, and it was in Libreville, Gabon. We have two co-chairs for the FPAC. We have Chancel Mbara from Congo, and we have Sylvain Baya from Cameroon. So those are the two co-chairs. Why the difference? Because first we started to have co-chairs with FPAC, and then we had co-chairs for WPF, but we found out that two co-chairs not enough. So WPF, we have 3, and we will soon have 3 also on that side. Next. In terms of locations, as you can see, FPAC actually started before, so it was in 2020. The first one, 2020, 2021, and 2022, it was online. 2023, it was in person. 2024, it was again online. In 2025, it was in person in Libreville, Gabon. Next. In terms of attendance, I forgot to make some changes. But most important, the number of attendance for this year in person, we had 84 attendants across the 2 days for the FPAC, and we had 12 online and 16 unique ASN. You might say that, oh, it is too low compared to West Africa. Yes, it is low, but when you look at the context of the region, this is a major achievement. And we are quite happy of having achieved that meeting and those 16 unique ASN. Unfortunately, we don't know yet where we are going, but we know that it will be in Central Africa, for sure. Next. Something important to know is that those regional peering forums are actually annual events that we organize to make sure that all the stakeholders, all the actors of the internet and peering ecosystem of those forums are coming together to discuss, same as what we do here, and also to push for them to really be fully active and to make those ecosystem and those region more dynamic. You can also volunteer for the PC. Actually, one of the reasons why I'm standing here is because apart from being member of the PC of AfPIF, I'm a member of the PC, I was a member of the PC of the WPF. Obinna made sure to fire me. I was also a member of the PC of the FPAC. I was also fired there, but it's fine. I will come back. But so meaning that you can join the PC. Right now, there are available seats. So please, you can contact Guilain, you can contact JB. The emails are there. If you want to be a volunteer for the PC, and also if you want to support, and that irrespective of the language. And for information, FPAC, yes, it's mainly French-speaking region, but we had the support of Flex Optics. We had a presentation, a beautiful presentation in English from Portia, and it was really commendable from her to have the courage to be the only presentation in English during the whole forum. So on this note, I will say thank you. And please join us. We need your support.